Crochet. I'm super excited to be here with you today. I'm going to be explaining how to make one of my favorite motifs. I use this Connect As You Go motif a lot in my wedding dress designs. I've used it in my Luna pattern. I've used it for my Isabella dress, and I've also used it for my 7th chakra dress. So it's definitely one of my favorites. It can be a little bit tricky, but I'm just gonna take it slow, and of course, let me know if you have questions as we go along. And I'm super excited. So let's get us all set up so that we can see my hands. So here's our project. This is the pattern. As you can see, it's really beautiful, really lacy, and we are connecting as we go to each motif as we go along. So I'm going to start by explaining how to make one of these motifs, and I'm going to be connecting it right into this empty space, and then I'll explain how to make one of these smaller motifs and put it right here so that we can connect the entire piece together. All right. If you're crocheting along with me, I'm going to be using Mimosa Yarn Bee. I think it's a fine weight yarn, so I believe that's like 3-ply, and then I'll be using a 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. All right, let's get started. So to begin the motif, we are going to chain 4, one, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to slip stitch into that first loop, if I can get it. There we go. Be mindful of these little ends. Okay, and I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to put 20 double crochets inside of this loop. So we go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. All right, and then we're just going to slip stitch right into that first double crochet. All right, for our second row, we're going to chain 5, and then we are going to skip over one of these double crochets and double crochet into the next one. We're going to do chain 3 and then skip another double crochet and double crochet into the next one. So that'll be our pattern for the second round. We're just going to chain 3, skip a double crochet, and then go into the next one. So by the end of this round, we should have 10 posts. Okay, I'm going to chain 3 and slip stitch into this first chain 2 space. We're just going to count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. Okay, for our next row, we're going to slip stitch into the chain space, and then I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to put 3 more double crochets into this chain space, and then I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to put 4 double crochets into the next chain space. So that will be our pattern for the rest of the round. We're just going to chain 2 and then put 4 double crochet into the chain spaces. All right, and then we're going to chain 2 and slip stitch into this first chain 2 space, and that is our completed round. So it should look like this. So we're right here in the motif, and for this next round we're going to kind of complete this little petal that we've got going on. So we're going to do a double crochet 4 together. So I'm just going to chain 1, yarn over, and then I'm going to pull through to these other stitches, leaving the last loops on my hook. And then at the end, I'm just going to pull through all 4 of them to kind of create this little point. I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to double crochet into our chain 2 space, and then chain 2 again, and then do another double crochet 4 together. Go all the way through. It always feels so good to do that. Does anybody else find that very satisfying? So again, we're going to chain 2, double crochet into our chain space, chain 2, and then double crochet 4 together. Chain 2, double crochet into the chain space, chain 2, and then double crochet 4 together. Chain 2, double crochet into this chain space, chain 2, and then double crochet 4 together. Chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, and then double crochet 4 together. Ah. This is my favorite round of the row because I just love doing double crochet 4 together. I don't know why, I find it so much fun. All right, so we're coming up on the end of this row. Just going to chain 2, double crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 2 once more, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of our last double crochet 4 together. So here we are. We've just completed this row in the motif, so we're getting there. And now we're going to create all of these little chain 3 spaces. So we're going to put them right on top of our double crochet 4 together, in between the double crochet, on top of the double crochet, and then in between again. So by the time we're done with this pattern, we should have 40 chain 3 spaces going along the top of our motif. We're just going to chain 3, single crochet into the chain space, chain 3, single crochet on top of the double crochet 4 together, chain 3, single crochet into the chain space, chain 3, single crochet into the double crochet, chain 3, single crochet into the chain space, chain 3, single crochet into the top of the double crochet 4 together. So basically anywhere that you can, or into each next stitch, we're basically going to single crochet our chain 3 space. And of course, there is a written pattern for this motif, so you can always reference that as soon as it's released. I plan to have that out in the next week or so stay tuned for that. And that will come with lots of helpful photos. coming up onto the next round. And for the next round, we're going to continue making these chain 3 spaces. But first, we want to go ahead and make sure that we indeed have 40 chain spaces. I'm just going to slip stitch that into the first single crochet. Okay, let's lay this out. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. We're missing one. Where am I missing one? You know what? For the purpose of this video, I'm just gonna put one right there and then slip stitch back into here. And that's the beauty of crochet. You can kind of just be flexible if you need to. Okay, and then I'm going to slip stitch into this chain 3 space, and I'm going to chain 3 and single crochet into the next chain 3 space. And I'm actually just going to count as we go along just to make sure that I do have 40. So here we go. We're just going to be chaining 3 and then single crocheting into the next chain space. So that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. And it appears as though I did indeed have 40 in my last row. So what I'm going to do is just kind of skip over that last little chain 3 that I added in and single crochet into that first single crochet over here. And that is what I love about crochet. You can really can kind of make it up as you go along, unlike in knitting where everything needs to be a little bit more perfect. Okay, so this is our last row, and this is the tricky row because remember we are going to be connecting as we go. And what's important to remember about this row is that each of these motifs end up having 20 points on them. And for every 5 points, you're going to be connecting with another motif, and then you're going to be connecting with the smaller motif. So we're going to be working in 5s as we approach our connecting. But first, we are going to slip stitch into our next chain 3 space, and then we are going to make little points. So we're going to double crochet, make 4 double crochet into the chain 3 space, and then we're going to chain 2 and then do 4 more double crochet. And that is going to make our little point. And then we're going to single crochet into the next chain 3 space. So let's do it again. 4 double crochets into the next chain 3 space. Chain 2, and then another 4 double crochets. And then single crochet into the next chain 3 space. Four double crochet, chain 2, and another 4 double crochet. So I'm going to be doing this pattern until I have 12 points. Okay, let's see how many points we have so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're halfway to 12. And don't worry if your motifs look kind of curly like this. Once that they're connected with each other, then they start to flatten out and look really nice. You can also block these if you'd like. I'm really not huge on blocking at the moment, at least with this pattern. But it's totally every designer's preference. Okay, let's see where we're at. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here's our 10th little point. Here is our 11th point. And here is our 12th point. Okay guys, so this is where we start connecting. So once we do our single crochet, we're going to continue to make points on the motif, but halfway through the point, we're going to connect it to, we're going to start with the motif that's on the row above. So here we have 4 double crochets into our next chain space. And instead of chaining 2 and doing 4 more in the same space, I'm going to connect it over here. So remember, we're working in with 20 points on each motif, which means that we're working in quadrants of 5. So on this motif, these 2 points will be connected to this centerpiece right here, and then the next 3 points will be connected to our new motif. So we're going to be starting from right to left, from the 3rd point away. So we'll be connecting to these 3 points. So I'm going to start with this 3rd point right over here. So we've done our 4 double crochets, and then instead of a chain 2, we're just going to single crochet into this motif above, just like that, which forms this little connection. And then we're going to do another 4 double crochets into that same chain space, because remember, we need to complete the point. And then when we will single crochet into the next chain space. So this is what it looks like for our first connection. You can see we've got a nice little bond happening there. And then we're going to start our next point. We're going to do 4 double crochets. And then again, we're going to single crochet into our previous motif, and we're going to be going 1 more to the left. So we'll just single crochet right into there, and then we'll do another 4 double crochets to complete that point. And then single crochet into the next chain 3 space. And then we're going to make another point, do 4 double crochets. And then we're going to single crochet into this 3rd point. Let's just finish this little guy. And then single crochet to the next chain 3 space. And here we have our first connection. So it looks a little bit curly and loopy right now, but I swear it's gonna lay really nicely once it's on. So we've got 3 points connected. And then we are going to continue to make points. We're gonna make 2 right here without a connection, because remember, we are going to connect, we're gonna have a centerpiece that's going to connect all 4 of these together. So we're just going to make 2 points regularly right now. And single crochet. Here's our second point. Okay, and single crochet. So here's what we have so far. We have these 3 connected up here, then we have 2 points here. So just like on these motifs up here, they're going to connect to a centerpiece, which you can see right here. We'll be making one of these. So we want to make sure to have 2 points to connect to that centerpiece, and then we're going to continue to connect to the motif on the same row. So we've made our 4 double crochets, and then over here we're going to skip these 2 because remember these are going to connect to our centerpiece, and then we're going to go to the 3rd one down, and I'm just going to single crochet into that chain 2 space of the other motif. And then I'm going to complete this point by doing 4 double crochets and then single crochet into the next chain space. So here we have our first connection to this other motif. And as you can see, we've formed this nice little space for our smaller motif to go. I'm going to continue connecting. I'm going to do 4 double crochets, and then single crochet into the next point on the previous motif. I hope that you guys can see this clearly. I know it's kind of a tricky concept, but you guys are smart, you got it. Okay, and then we're going to come to our very last point on the motif, which will be our very last connection. So we got 4 double crochets, we're going to single crochet into that 3rd point on the previous motif of the same row, and then we are going to finish that point with 4 double crochets and then single crochet or slip stitch into that very first single crochet. So here we go. This is our completed motif. Looking good, looking good. We've got it connected to our top row, we've got it connected to our previous motif in the same row, and now I'm going to show you how to fill in this gap right here. And it's totally up to you guys if you like to leave your ends out and then sew them all in at the end, or if you like to sew them in as you go. I personally have some commitment issues, so I like to sew them in at the end when I know that everything is lined up perfectly. All right. Let me get my yarn all situated here. Okay. So now to create this little middle motif, which is going to go right here to connect all of these guys, what we're going to do is chain 4, and then single crochet or slip stitch into the first chain, and then we're going to be working with triple crochets. So I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to make a triple crochet into the loop, and again. And then I'm going to chain 3 and then do another 3 triple crochets. Chain 3. And I'm going to start tucking in this little yarn tail. Chain 3, and another 3 triple crochets. Chain 3, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that 3rd chain. So we've got a first row, and I have to be super careful to get this right because I often don't get it right the first time. So then it's kind of weird, but we're actually going to slip stitch in between these triple crochets, just like that. And then I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to single crochet in between these triple crochets, just like that. I'm going to chain 2, and then on the little ends over here, we're going to make a point. And the point is going to consist of, is it 3 or 2? Let's see. It's 2. Okay. So we're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets into that chain 3 space. So this is what we've got so far. Got a little point, and then I'm going to chain 2 again, and I'm going to single crochet right in between those 2 triple crochets. Chain 3, single crochet in between the 2 triple crochets, chain 2, and then 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets into that corner chain 3 space, chain 2, single crochet between the triple crochets, chain 3, single crochet between the triple crochets, chain 2, come on yarn, not now. Okay, and then we're going to make our little point again, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, chain 2, single crochet between the triple crochets, chain 3, single crochet between the triple crochets, chain 2, and then 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets into that chain 3 space. And then we're just going to chain 2 and slip stitch into this little single crochet. Okay, so here we have our connecting motif so far, and we're going to make this last round of points to connect this all together. And this one can be a little bit tricky, so I'm just going to try to take it super slow. So we're going to slip stitch into this chain 3 space, and then I'm going to chain 2. And because this is going to align right here, I'm going to start by connecting it with this second point right over here instead of starting it in the first point. So I chain 2, and I'm going to connect it right in there. Then I'm going to chain 2 again and single crochet into this chain 2 space. Then I'm going to chain, I believe it's 2 again. Please refer to the pattern because it'll tell you exactly what to do. So I'm going to chain 2 again, and then I'm going to make a similar point to what we were doing on the large motif, which is going to be 4 double crochets, and then I'm going to connect it to this space in between these 2 first points in the middle. So I'm going to single crochet right in there between those 2. And then I'm going to finish the point with 4 double crochets into that same chain space. And then we'll chain 2 and single crochet into that next chain space. So here we have, so far, we've connected to this point, we've connected these points, and I'm just going to turn my work so that you guys can see super clearly what's going on. Okay, so next I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to single crochet into the next point on the next motif, and then I'm going to chain 2 again, and I'm going to single crochet into this chain 3 space. I'm going to chain 2 again and single crochet into the next point. Chain 2 again and single crochet into the next chain space. So I'll show you what we've got so far. So that's going to be kind of the pattern. We're going to be creating these like little zigzag chain 2 spaces to connect to our previous motifs, and then we'll create kind of another like point to connect on the in-between spaces for where the motifs have joined together. So let's make our next point. We're going to chain 2, and then we're going to make 4 double crochets into the next chain 2 space. And then single crochet in between our 2 points. And then make another 4 double crochets. And then chain 2, single crochet into the next chain space. So I'll show you what we've got so far. Getting all nice and connected. And remember, we're going to make these little zigzaggy chain spaces now to connect with our other points. So I'm going to chain 2 and connect to the first point, and then chain 2, single crochet into the chain 3 space, chain 2, single crochet into the next point, chain 2, and single crochet into the chain space. So we've got all these points connected now. We've reached another boulder point where we'll be connecting with the 2 motifs. So we're going to chain 2, make 4 double crochets, and then we're going to single crochet in between those 2 points, and then make another 4 double crochets. and then chain 2 and single crochet to the next chain space. So let's see what we've got so far. So we're getting pretty close to being fully connected here. We're back to our little zigzags. So I'm going to chain 2, single crochet into the next point on the next motif, chain 2, single crochet into the chain 3 space, chain 2, single crochet into the next point, chain 2, single crochet into the next chain space. Got our little zigzags going, moving right along. Come on, yarn. There we go. Okay, then we're going to chain 2 and start our next point. 4 single crochets, and then we're going to single crochet between the 2 points, and then finish out our point with another 4 double crochets. Chain 2, single crochet into the next chain space, and here we are almost to the end. And remember how we kind of skipped over this first guy? Now we're going to go ahead and connect our very last point, chain 2, and then slip stitch into that chain 3 space, and then we can cut our yarn. And here we are. We are all connected. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that you found this video helpful and informative. In this description below, you'll be able to find links to my patterns where I use this same motif. Of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me via email. I'm hello@namasteandcrochet.com, or you can send me a DM on Instagram. I've posted all of my links below, so you can always reach out to me. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel. I'll be posting lots of video tutorials in the future, and I can't wait to see what you make. Happy stitching!